Have you ever wondered why the most spiritually awakened souls experience sexual desire not as a faint whisper, but as a roaring, unstoppable force that seems to intensify with every step they take toward the divine? You might think that spiritual evolution should quiet the body's cravings, that enlightenment would bring you beyond such earthly needs, but instead, you find yourself standing at the intersection of profound longing and sacred calling, confused, conflicted, questioning whether you are truly worthy of the path you have been called to walk. This is not a flaw in your character, nor a sign that you have failed in your spiritual practice. It is the unmistakable mark of the chosen ones, those rare souls who carry within them the raw, creative power of the cosmos itself. A power that Carl Jung understood better than almost anyone who ever studied the human psyche. If you have felt this paradox burning inside you, if you have sensed that your intense desires are somehow connected to your spiritual mission, then this message is meant for you. And every word here will help you understand why your sexuality is not an obstacle to overcome, but a sacred key that unlocks the deepest chambers of your soul. Before we go deeper into this profound mystery, I want to invite you to join our community here on this channel, because this is not just a single video. It is part of an ongoing series designed to guide you step by step through the process of integrating your shadow, your desires, and your highest calling into one unified, authentic life. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you will have access to every new lesson as it unfolds, and you can track your own progress week by week as we explore the hidden dimensions of Jungian psychology, spirituality, and conscious sexuality together. Check the pinned comment and the description below for playlists that will deepen your journey, and know that you are not alone in this exploration. Thousands of others are walking this path with you, discovering that their desires are not their enemy, but their greatest teacher. Now let us return to the heart of the matter and explore why chosen ones feel sexual desire so deeply, and what Carl Jung revealed about this ancient sacred paradox. The very first thing Jung understood, and what most traditional spiritual teachings either deny or fail to grasp, is that sexual energy, life force energy, and spiritual energy are not three separate currents flowing through you. They are one singular river of power, one undivided essence that takes different forms, depending on how you relate to it, how you channel it, and how consciously you engage with its transformative potential. When you are called to a higher purpose, when you are marked as a chosen one, your energetic system is more open, more sensitive, more receptive to the movements of the unconscious. And this means that you do not experience desire as a mild, manageable urge, but as a tidal wave, a force of nature that can overwhelm you if you do not understand its true purpose. Most people are taught by religion, by culture, by well-meaning but misguided teachers that the body and the spirit are enemies, that desire is a distraction from God, that sexual feelings are base, shameful, something to be suppressed or transcended if you want to reach enlightenment. But Jung saw through this dualistic lie, and he recognized that the spiritual journey of the chosen one is not about rejecting the body or denying desire, but about integrating every part of yourself, every impulse, every shadow, every hidden longing into a coherent, whole, authentic self. He called this process individuation, and it is the central task of every soul who is called to something greater than the ordinary life. What happens when you try to push your sexual energy down, when you pretend it does not exist, when you label it as sinful or wrong? The unconscious does not simply accept your rejection, it fights back. It sends you dreams filled with erotic symbols. It creates fantasies that invade your meditations. It manifests as physical tension, emotional turmoil, obsessive thoughts, and compulsive behaviors that confuse and disturb you. The more you deny your shadow, the more power it gains over you, And this is especially true for the chosen ones, because your sensitivity means that every unintegrated part of yourself will demand your attention with greater intensity than it would for someone less attuned to the depths. On the other hand, if you simply surrender to every impulse without awareness, without discernment, without conscious intention, you risk losing yourself in compulsion, in addiction, in behaviors that hurt you and others, and this path is equally destructive. The Jungian way, the path of true individuation, is neither repression nor indulgence. It is the middle way, the sacred art of sitting with your desire, observing it, listening to it, honoring it as a messenger from the unconscious, and learning to transform its raw energy into creative power, into insight, into art, into love, into the very fuel that drives your spiritual mission forward. Why do chosen ones feel sexual desire so deeply? Because they are not meant to live a life of shallow comfort or superficial spirituality. They are meant to descend into the underworld of their own psyche, to wrestle with the gods and demons that dwell there, to face the full spectrum of human experience, and to emerge with wisdom, compassion, and a profound understanding of what it means to be fully, unapologetically alive. Your intense desire is not a punishment. It is an invitation, a calling from the deepest part of yourself, the part Jung called the self, which is always striving toward wholeness, always pushing you to integrate what has been split, to heal what has been wounded, to unite what has been divided. The symbols that arise in your dreams, in your fantasies, in your waking life, are not random. They are the language of the collective unconscious, the ancient wisdom that speaks through images, through archetypes, through the mythic stories that have guided humanity for thousands of years. When you dream of serpents, of fire, of sacred unions, of chalices overflowing with liquid light, you are not just having random thoughts. You are receiving messages from the depths, clues to the alchemical process that is unfolding within you, the transformation of base matter into spiritual gold. In the alchemical tradition, which Jung studied deeply and integrated into his psychology, sexual energy is called the prima materia, the raw material that must be refined, purified, and transmuted through conscious attention and intentional practice. The alchemists did not see sexuality as something dirty or shameful. They saw it as the most potent force available to the human being, the very essence of creation itself, the power that brings new life into the world, whether that life is a child, a work of art, a business, a relationship, or a spiritual awakening. The 7 stages of alchemical transformation, calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation, mirror the journey of the chosen one who learns to work consciously with their sexual energy. First, you must burn away the false beliefs, the shame, the fear, the guilt that society has layered onto your natural desires. This is calcination, the fire that purifies. Then you dissolve the rigid structures of your ego, the identities you have clung to, the stories you have told yourself about who you are and what you are allowed to feel. This is dissolution, the water that softens. Next, you separate the true from the false, the authentic desire from the compulsive craving, the voice of your soul from the noise of conditioning. This is separation, the discernment that clarifies. In conjunction, you bring together the opposites within yourself, the masculine and the feminine, the light and the shadow, the spiritual and the sexual, and you discover that they are not enemies, but lovers, 2 halves of one whole that have been waiting to reunite. Fermentation is the stage where your transformed energy begins to generate new life, new creativity, new possibilities that you could never have imagined before. Distillation refines this energy even further, concentrating it, purifying it, until it becomes a potent elixir of consciousness, a medicine that heals not only you, but everyone you touch. Finally, coagulation is the moment when your integrated self takes solid form, when you become a living embodiment of wholeness, when your sexuality and your spirituality are no longer in conflict, but are working together in perfect harmony, creating a life that is both deeply grounded and divinely inspired. This is not a quick process. It is not something you can achieve in a weekend workshop or by reading a single book. It is a lifelong journey, a spiral path that takes you deeper and deeper into the mystery of your own being. And every time you think you have arrived, you discover another layer, another shadow, another gift waiting to be uncovered. But here is the secret that most people never learn. The truth that Jung spent his entire life trying to communicate. The intensity of your desire is directly proportional to the magnitude of your potential. If you feel sexual energy coursing through you like a lightning storm, if your body pulses with longing that seems almost unbearable at times, it is because there is something enormous trying to be born through you, something that requires every ounce of your life force, every bit of your creative power, every fragment of your soul's energy to manifest in the world. You are not broken. You are on fire with purpose, and the universe is asking you, begging you, demanding that you step into your full power and stop apologizing for the force that lives inside you. The chosen ones are not the people who have escaped desire. They are the ones who have learned to dance with it, to channel it, to transform it, to use it as fuel for their sacred work. They are the artists who pour their erotic energy into paintings, music, poetry that moves the soul. They are the healers who bring the warmth of embodied presence into every session, who do not fear the body or its hungers, but honor them as expressions of divine creativity. They are the spiritual teachers who speak not from a place of sterile detachment, but from the hot, messy, beautiful center of lived human experience. They are the lovers who bring consciousness into the bedroom, who understand that every touch, every breath, every moment of connection is an opportunity for sacred union, for the dissolution of separateness, for the experience of oneness that mystics have sought for millennia. If you have been taught that spirituality means rising above the body, that enlightenment requires the death of desire, that holiness demands celibacy or abstinence or the suppression of your natural instincts, then you have been fed a lie, a dangerous half-truth that keeps you trapped in a prison of shame and self-rejection. The true spiritual path, the path of the chosen ones, is the path of integration, of embracing every part of yourself, of saying yes to the light and the shadow, to the heavenly and the earthly, to the pure and the primal. This does not mean that you act out every impulse, that you abandon discernment, that you become a slave to your cravings. It means that you develop a conscious, compassionate relationship with your desires, that you learn to listen to what they are trying to tell you, that you use them as a doorway into deeper self-knowledge and greater creative power. One of the most profound practices you can engage in is simply to pay attention to your desire without judgment, without trying to fix it, without rushing to act on it. When you feel the stirring of sexual energy in your body, instead of pushing it away or immediately seeking release, you can pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what is this energy trying to show me? What part of my soul is calling for attention? What creative project, what relationship, what healing, what transformation is asking to be born? Sometimes desire is a signal that you need more intimacy, more connection, more touch in your life. Sometimes it is a message that you have been living too much in your head and you need to come back into your body, to feel, to move, to dance, to sweat, to be fully alive in your flesh. Sometimes it is a clue that you have been repressing your creative impulses, that there is art or music or writing or building that wants to come through you, and your sexual energy is the engine that can power that creation. And sometimes it is simply the universe reminding you that you are a divine being having a human experience, that you are not meant to be a disembodied spirit floating above the earth, but a fully incarnated soul who knows how to taste, to touch, to smell, to hear, to see, to feel every dimension of existence with gratitude and wonder. The chosen ones are the ones who have stopped trying to be perfect according to someone else's definition, who have given up the exhausting effort to fit into a mold that was never designed for them, who have decided to honor their own unique path, even if it looks nothing like what they were taught to expect. They are the ones who can hold the paradox, who can be both intensely sexual and deeply spiritual, who can be wild and disciplined, playful and profound, earthly and divine, all at the same time. This is the sacred marriage that the alchemists spoke of, the union of opposites, the integration of all that you are into a coherent, powerful, radiant whole. And when you achieve this integration, when you stop fighting yourself and start embracing yourself, something miraculous happens. Your desire ceases to be a source of shame and becomes a source of power. The energy that used to scatter in compulsive behavior, in guilt, in confusion, in endless cycles of indulgence and repression, now flows cleanly and clearly through you, directed by your conscious intention, available for your creative work, your relationships, your spiritual practice, your contribution to the world. You become magnetic, not in a manipulative way, but in the way that all truly integrated people are magnetic. You radiate authenticity, presence, aliveness, and others are naturally drawn to you because they sense that you have something they are searching for, a wholeness, a freedom, a way of being that they long to embody themselves. This is the gift that the chosen ones are meant to bring to the world, not the example of a saint who has transcended desire, but the example of a fully human being who has learned to live with desire consciously, joyfully, creatively, and who can show others that it is possible to be both deeply spiritual and deeply embodied, to honor the soul and the body, to walk the path of integration rather than the path of denial. Jung believed that the greatest spiritual crisis of our time is the split between spirit and matter, between the sacred and the sexual, between the heavenly and the earthly, and he dedicated his life to healing that split, to showing that wholeness is not about choosing one side or the other, but about bringing all the parts of ourselves into conversation, into relationship, into sacred union. If you are a chosen one, if you feel sexual desire deeply, intensely, sometimes overwhelmingly, then you are being called to participate in this great work of healing, not just for yourself, but for the collective, for humanity, for the evolution of consciousness itself. Every time you choose to honor your desire instead of shaming it, every time you bring awareness to your impulses instead of acting them out unconsciously, every time you transform your raw sexual energy into creative expression, you are contributing to the healing of the ancient wound, the split that has caused so much suffering, so much repression, so much violence, so much disconnection in our world. You are proving that another way is possible, that we do not have to choose between being spiritual and being sexual, that we can be both, that we can be whole. And this is not an easy path. It is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to face the parts of yourself that you have been taught to hide, to deny, to be ashamed of. It requires you to question everything you have been told about what it means to be good, to be pure, to be holy, and to trust your own inner knowing, your own direct experience, your own connection to the divine, even when it contradicts what the authorities have told you. But if you are reading these words, if they are resonating with something deep inside you, then you are already on this path, whether you knew it or not. You are already a chosen one, already marked by the universe for a special kind of work, a special kind of transformation. And the fact that you feel desire so deeply is not a sign that you are failing, but a sign that you are succeeding, that you are alive, that you are responding to the call. The universe does not give us challenges that we are not capable of meeting. It gives us exactly the initiations we need to become who we are meant to be. So if you have been struggling with the intensity of your sexual desire, if you have been feeling confused or ashamed or conflicted about how to reconcile it with your spiritual aspirations, let me offer you this perspective. Your desire is not the problem. The problem is the false belief that desire and spirit are separate, that you have to choose one or the other, that you cannot be fully embodied and fully awakened at the same time. The truth is that your body is not a prison for your soul. It is the temple where your soul lives, the sacred ground where spirit takes form, the place where the infinite meets the finite and creates something beautiful. Your sexual energy is not a distraction from your spiritual mission. It is the fuel that powers your mission, the creative force that allows you to manifest your purpose, the life force that gives you the stamina, the passion, the intensity to do the work you came here to do. When you stop fighting yourself, when you stop trying to be something you are not, when you embrace every part of who you are with compassion and curiosity, you will discover that the integration you seek is not something you have to achieve. It is something you have to allow. It is already there, waiting for you, just beneath the surface of your shame and your fear and your conditioning. All you have to do is say yes to it. Yes to your desire, yes to your body, yes to your spirit, yes to the paradox, yes to the mystery, yes to the journey. And as you walk this path, as you learn to transform your desire into creative power, as you discover that your sexuality and your spirituality are two expressions of the same divine energy, you will begin to feel something you may have never felt before. A deep, abiding sense of peace, not the peace of emptiness or detachment, but the peace of wholeness, the peace of knowing that you are exactly who you are supposed to be, that nothing about you is wrong, that every part of you, even the parts you have been taught to hide, has a place, a purpose, a gift to offer the world. This is the promise of the Jungian path, the promise of individuation, the promise that Jung made to everyone who was willing to do the hard, messy, beautiful work of integration, that on the other side of your shadow, on the other side of your shame, on the other side of your fear, there is a version of you who is free, whole, powerful, and radiant, a version of you who has learned to live fully, to love deeply, to create passionately, to contribute meaningfully, and to be without apology. Exactly who you were born to be. So do not be afraid of your desire. Do not run from it. Do not hide it. Do not try to kill it. Instead, sit with it, listen to it, learn from it, and let it teach you what it knows about the mysteries of life, about the power of creation, about the beauty of being fully, wildly, unapologetically alive. You are a chosen one. And your desire is not your curse. It is your greatest blessing, your most sacred teacher, your most powerful ally on the journey toward wholeness. Trust it, honor it, transform it, and watch as it opens doors you never knew existed, as it leads you to experiences you never imagined possible, as it reveals to you the truth that the mystics and the alchemists have always known. That the path to God is not through the denial of the body, but through its full, conscious, joyful embrace. And as you continue walking this path, as you deepen into the understanding that your sexuality is not separate from your spirituality, but woven into the very fabric of your awakening, you will begin to notice something extraordinary happening in your daily life. The world around you starts to shift, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed the lens through which you perceive it. Colors become more vivid, music moves you more deeply, conversations carry more weight, and simple moments of physical existence, the taste of food, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sensation of your breath moving through your body, become portals into the sacred. This is what Jung meant when he spoke of the transcendent function, the capacity of the psyche to hold and integrate opposites in such a way that a third thing emerges, something new, something that transcends the limitations of either pole alone. When you bring your sexuality and your spirituality into conscious relationship with each other, When you stop treating them as enemies and start experiencing them as dance partners, you activate this transcendent function within yourself, and suddenly you're no longer limited by the either-or thinking that keeps most people trapped in cycles of repression and indulgence. You enter into a both-and reality, a reality where you can be deeply devoted to your spiritual practice and also fully alive in your erotic nature, where you can meditate in silence for hours and also laugh with wild abandon, where you can pursue enlightenment with fierce dedication and also enjoy the pleasures of embodied existence without guilt or shame. This is the true meaning of Tantra, not the watered-down Western version that has been sold as a collection of bedroom techniques, but the ancient Eastern understanding that every moment, every sensation, every breath, every impulse is an opportunity to experience the divine. Tantra teaches that the universe is not divided into sacred and profane, pure and impure, spiritual and material. It is all one continuous expression of consciousness, and the goal is not to escape the body or transcend desire, but to bring such total awareness to every aspect of existence that even the most mundane act becomes a prayer, a meditation, a celebration of life itself. When you eat with full presence, tasting every flavor, feeling every texture, grateful for the nourishment. When you walk with awareness, feeling the earth beneath your feet, the movement of your muscles, the rhythm of your stride. And when you make love, whether with a partner or in the privacy of your own self-exploration, you do so with consciousness, with intention, with a reverence for the sacred energy that moves through you, with an understanding that this act is not separate from your meditation, your prayer, your spiritual practice, but is itself a form of worship, a way of honoring the life force that animates all things. Jung understood this deeply, and although he came from a Christian background and had to navigate the conservative values of his time and culture, he was profoundly influenced by Eastern philosophy, by alchemy, by Gnosticism, by all the mystical traditions that recognized the unity of spirit and matter. He saw that the greatest spiritual masters were not the ones who fled from life, but the ones who embraced it fully, who descended into the depths of human experience and emerged with the pearl of great price, the wisdom that can only be earned through direct encounter with every aspect of existence. And he saw that the chosen ones, the individuals who are called to the path of individuation, are the ones who are willing to make that descent, to face the dragon, to enter the cave, to confront the shadow, to integrate the repressed and denied parts of themselves, and to claim the treasure that waits in the darkness. Your sexual desire is part of that treasure. It is not the monster you have to slay, but the ally you have to befriend, the teacher you have to listen to, the power you have to harness. And when you do, when you finally stop running from yourself and start embracing yourself, you will discover reserves of energy, creativity, passion, and purpose that you never knew you had. You will find that you can work longer, create more, love deeper, serve better, and live more fully than you ever thought possible. You will become a force of nature, a walking embodiment of integrated wholeness, and people will sense it in you even if they cannot name it. They will feel the authenticity, the groundedness, the aliveness that radiates from you, and they will be drawn to it because it reflects something they long for in themselves. This is the work of the chosen ones, not to be perfect, not to be pure, not to be above the struggles of human existence, but to be real, to be whole, to be courageously and vulnerably alive, and in doing so, to light the way for others who are ready to walk the same path. So as you move forward from this moment, carry with you the understanding that your desire is holy, that your body is sacred, that your sexuality is a gift, and that the integration of all these parts of yourself is not a luxury or an optional addition to your spiritual practice, but the very heart of the work you came here to do. You are not here to transcend your humanity. You are here to fully inhabit it, to explore every dimension of what it means to be a conscious, embodied soul, and to discover through your own direct experience that there is no separation between the sacred and the sexual, between the divine and the human, between the light and the shadow. It is all one, all holy, all part of the magnificent, mysterious, miraculous journey of awakening that you are on right now. And the fact that you feel desire so deeply is not evidence that you are lost. It is evidence that you are found, that you are awake, that you are alive, that you are exactly where you need to be on the path toward wholeness. In every breath you take, in every moment you choose to honor the fullness of who you are rather than the fragment of who you were told you should be, you participate in the great alchemical work that transforms not only your own soul, but contributes to the collective healing of humanity. The chosen ones are the bridge builders, the ones who stand at the crossroads where spirit meets flesh, where the eternal encounters the temporal, where the infinite pours itself into finite form and says yes to the limitations, the messiness, the beauty, and the wildness of incarnation. You carry within your very cells the memory of wholeness, the blueprint for integration, and every time you refuse to split yourself in two, every time you bring consciousness to your desire instead of judgment, every time you allow your sexual energy to flow through you as creative force, rather than repressing it or squandering it, you anchor a new possibility into the collective field. You become living proof that it is possible to be both human and divine, to honor the call of the soul and the needs of the body, to walk a spiritual path that does not require you to amputate parts of yourself in order to be acceptable. And this is revolutionary work, because for thousands of years the dominant paradigm has insisted that you must choose, that you cannot have both, that the price of enlightenment is the denial of your humanity. But you know better now. You have seen through the lie